Since the closure of Boston Harbor's Long Island in October, there's been much debate over how to care for the homeless people who resided there. But the island also hosted another 200 people in substance abuse recovery programs, and replacing those lost services has been a significant challenge. WGBH News reporter Ann Mostu spoke with one group of women reclaiming their lives together in a new setting.
Jeannie and Rebecca could be any two roommates trying to make a life in Boston.
We made it work.
They're happy, healthy, and stylish, an appearance that shows just how far they've come. Jeannie and Rebecca are recovering drug addicts.
I relapsed back in March of last year, and I woke up with a breathing tube down my throat, and I was lucky to make it, you know.
Heroin almost destroyed them, and they consider themselves lucky to have ended up in jail instead of dead. While on probation, Jeannie and Rebecca were beginning to put their lives back together, living in a halfway house on Long Island.
I was on like the restriction phase, the beginning phase, where you just kind of stay in the house and get acclimated, get to know the girls, like make dinner.
We would do meditation, we'd read like our daily books. I had phased, so I was able to go out on job search every single day, but I was also allowed to come home early whenever I felt like I needed to.
They were in a residential treatment program called Hello House, run by Volunteers of America. It was working for Rebecca and Jeannie, but soon after moving in, they had to leave. The bridge to Long Island was suddenly closed, giving them just a few hours to evacuate.
Nobody knew where we were going. Like, we had staff there because we were part of a program, so I felt like, you know, they kept us together and they kept us calm, but it was just a lot of chaos.
Jeannie, Rebecca, and some 24 women moved to this large house in Jamaica Plain. The empty rooms reflect all the furniture and supplies that were left behind on Long Island.
There was just a line of air mattresses.
I think there was like 10 that went this way, 2 over there, 2 over here. There was 3 in that room. There was 4 in the dining room.
Hello House staff tried to keep schedules and routines consistent, even as they waited for the city to decide the future of the island.
We are so focused on getting the clients the help that they need that it's not possible for us to think about waiting 3 years to reopen our programs.
Stephanie Powie of Volunteers of America says her organization has scrambled to find new locations for the 2 women's homes and 1 youth home they left behind.
Relocate the programs, helping us work with the communities to let people know that, you know, we run safe programs that are monitored 24/7 and that they're very structured. And the clients we see are very, very motivated.
But these women are moving again from JP to Dorchester as Hello House finishes remodeling a new permanent home. Meanwhile, Jeannie and Rebecca are working restaurant jobs and paying rent. They have to be home by 6. Things are looking up, but they have lost some friends along the way.
Some people, it was about their time to graduate anyways. They were transitioning out, so they found safe places to go. Some people, like, it proved too much for them, yeah. And they just made that decision.
Rebecca says the upheaval caused by moving has also brought those who stayed together even closer.
We're like a lot like a family right now, you know, like we actually like bicker like sisters and stuff, but at the end of the day, like I know like any one of them would like probably stand in front of a bus for me.
And that's one bit of normalcy they welcome. Ann Mostu, WGBH News.
For more on how recovery programs are trying to replace the services left on Long Island, I'm joined by Tom Bierbaum, the CEO of Volunteers of America, Massachusetts. Tom, welcome to Greater Boston.
Hi, Adam. How you doing?
For women like the ones we just saw, how traumatic an event was the evacuation of Long Island, and did it jeopardize their recovery?
I think it would be something akin to being in the Westin Hotel downtown and somebody saying you're going to have to evacuate in your pajamas, and then finding out once you get to the street that you can't go back in the hotel that night. And for these women, they don't have resources, so they wouldn't be able to go to another place. And that was pretty much what the experience was like.
So does that make relapse, for example, more likely?
Well, I think these programs are programs in which people are heavily committed to change their lives. One event or another doesn't necessarily mean that that's going to lead to a relapse, but it certainly doesn't help to have their routine disrupted. The most important thing for these people when they're in a program like this is to focus on their recovery and their sobriety. And that's going to impair their ability to be in jobs, to be in housing, and to be with their family members and so forth. That sobriety is very important.
How does the facility that we just saw in JP, I say facility, but it actually looks like a pretty comfortable home, how does that compare to where they were in Long Island?
It's smaller. It's not purposely designed. I mean, obviously that's a residential facility. Where we were on Long Island was pretty spacious. It was more conducive to clinical work. And we had been there for 21 years, so we had made it very much purposeful for our use.
What is it, whether it's on Long Island or in JP or in the place they're heading in Dorchester, what is it about being with other people who are in recovery that is beneficial to individuals like the one we just saw? What does that do for them?
I think anybody who shares your experience can also reflect back to you a tremendous amount of empathy for whatever your issues are. I would expect that probably in this kind of situation you can see yourself in everyone else's story, and it's a very powerful experience. It's something that's hard to access within the city, within the state of Massachusetts. There is not enough opportunity for these types of programs. And when the opportunity for someone to make that kind of commitment happens, you need to be able to seize that moment.
From your vantage point, would it be preferable for your clients, again, like the ones we just heard from, to stay in the city or ultimately down the road to head back to Long Island? We've heard sort of conflicting things from the Walsh administration about whether that might happen. What would be best for them?
Well, I think there are pros and cons to either location. Certainly, you're away from a lot of possible negative influences. However, busing people in the North Quincy subway stops 6 times a day is not completely normal. So when we found out that this bridge was going to be disrupted for some time, we just moved on other opportunities, and we think we have a location in Dorchester that's going to work very well for us. And we think it will be a tremendous opportunity for these women.
And that's for the long term.
That's for the long term.
That's where they're going to be. All right, Tom Bierbaum, thank you.
Thank you.